Hello, this is Malorian, and this is the Orc Tactical Team. And what I want to talk about today is actually tactical swearing. And the reason why this comes up is that in a recent battle report I did, I was up against my brother. He had a little bit of swearing, a little bit of potty mouth, and the responses I got to the video, some were saying, "Oh, these are funny to watch," and other ones were actually coming back saying, "Oh, this is actually offensive." So I thought I'd just do this fast little video about how I can have my tactical spin on it. Now, when you're using swearing in your gaming, of course, there's the people that are just sore losers and, they'll be swearing up a storm, but there's actually an aspect on it where you can be using it to your advantage. The first one I want to talk about is the fear. So, if you're thinking about it, if you're up against a person and every single time you destroy something of his, and he's just, getting all angry and all this stuff, right? All of a sudden, for most people, you don't want to aggravate them, right? You have a little fear in yourself about them being either violence towards yourself, towards your models. You're just not feeling safe, and what's this going to lead you to do is either trying to not beat them as much or even throwing the game. And so, of course, if this is a tournament situation, this is fantastic for that other person. He's using this to their advantage. All of a sudden, where you might be up against this person that'd be a close match for you. Well, all of a sudden, if they're afraid to even beat any of your units and they're holding back, well, now you're going to be doing a lot better. Now, this is kind of like the dark side of swearing and something that's going to be really frowned upon. You're going to be making people just having an unenjoyable game, and there's even a chance you could be kicked out of the tournament. You're going to get horrible comp scores, even if ghosts go through. So, you'd only be looking for being best general rather than being best overall. But it's something that's there. The other side of it is the camaraderie aspect of it. So whereas the fear aspect is like the dark side of swearing, this camaraderie would be the lighter, good side of swearing. And really, to get to the idea of it first, well, let's just think in your mind that if on one side you had one person, on another person you had another person, and you made some sort of comment, one agreed with you and the other one agreed with you with the swear, saying, "Oh, fuck yeah, you're right, that's absolutely correct." Well, in your mind, you're going to be more inclined that this person is more on your side than this person, even though they both agreed with you just as much. There's also another thing that's part of this, which is subconsciously this is kind of like a little secret. And going back to the way that people develop relationships, if you have some sort of big event that happens, people that live through, earthquakes and major events and, deaths, you can create a greater bond with that person than you do with other people that you do not have these events with. And the same thing can happen with these little secrets. If you kind of think of it, if you have this person that swore to you, it's almost your own little, I know it sounds stupid, but your own little moment you had, and you have that kind of bond that's there. And at the same time as well, you almost feel that they're even more honest with you, because maybe this person is holding back, whereas obviously this person is swearing. It's more of an honest, from the heart statement. So the way that you can now tie this in tactically into the game is if you're playing against a person, and if you just stand up, one person against another, this is a competitive environment, you're both probably going to be going all out to use all your tools to be just as effective as possible. However, if you're up against a person that's your buddy, well, then all of a sudden you're going to be going for more of a fun game rather than an ultra competitive game. So using this in a tournament scene, if you were starting to goof around, swear, use some potty mouth, go, "Oh man, I'm getting my fucking ass killed," blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden you could be getting some jokes in there. You're having lots of fun. And then all of a sudden, when they have the opportunity to be really massacring you, well, now that they might be holding back. And at the same time, they might be throwing something in just for fun. Sure, let's have this support unit charge your main unit just for this fun combat, right? And it's almost just because of this camaraderie that builds up, and how you just want to be having more fun and supporting that. And in a tournament situation, that could mean either on one side where you would have been massacred, but this now brought it to be just say a minor loss, which you could say in one side that okay, a loss is a loss, but no, in a tournament situation, having a massacre is way different than having just a minor loss. And if you end a tournament with 3 massacre wins and 1 minor loss, you're in a much better spot than if you had 3 massacre wins and 1 massacre loss. So it's a very big part of it. Another thing is walking in, and I think this is where my brother was coming from. If you can just right from the very get-go, make it so it's more of a relaxed setting, then all of a sudden you can make it so it's a competitive game to more of a non-competitive game. You know, you go in, you're goofing around, you're using some potty mouth, and it just kind of takes the whole competitive scene away from you. You're almost just disarming your opponent. And so whereas usually he might be coming up with all the tricks and all these things, well, now he just wants to have more of a fun game. You know, there's still going to be that competitive edge, but it's still that more fun aspect. And so again, with that, going to a competitive tournament environment, if you're up against somebody that you know is, you know, tactically superior, you might just walk in and start doing this, right? You know, using some foul language and stuff just to try and, you know, strike up some conversation, you know, become friends with your opponent, and then all of a sudden you're going to be having this more balanced game, whereas if you didn't, he'd be tactically superior in crushing you. So just thought I'd bring this up, that, you know, swears aren't always bad. There are ways you can tactically use them, but at the same time you want to be very wary about how you use these. For example, for the fear method, if you're up against, say, either a person that's, you know, really bold, really doesn't care, really ultra competitive, they'll just see this with you swearing at them and trying to intimidate them, and they just won't take it, and they might actually turn around and try and crush you more, right, to try and prove that they're better than you. At the same time, if you're against somebody that's kind of a little twisted and they just want to see just how much is this guy going to flip out. Is he going to flip the table? You know, he might actually go along with it and try and push you more, which is not what you're wanting, right? You're wanting them to pull back. You're wanting to use that type of tactic against a timid person so that they're going to kind of like, oh, I don't even want to beat this guy's little unit because he's going to flip out. At the same time, just like the people that had to come and saying that they didn't like this, if you're against a more, let's say, conservative person, that's not going to work, right? It's kind of like trying to make friends with a nun by coming up with a big rude joke, right? It's not going to work the same way. So you have to kind of really watch who you're using it with. You know, things are always appropriate given the situation. So there's the thoughts of it, just to know that there is a tactical side to swearing, and there you have it. So leave your comments below, see if you agree or disagree. Thanks, bye.